And we're back here at Tompkins Edition. I am your host, Jimmy Jam 420. You know what? It's been a rough day, rough morning. You're dealing with people at work who just want to just throw you under the bus. Or whatever, you know? Not even throw you under the bus, just want to bug you. Just want to just irritate you all the time. Talking about horrible bosses, people. Okay? Last night I was at work. Easy night, not doing too much. My job was to basically just do my job, sit there, not do really anything extra, do the same thing everybody else was. But for
And
some
you wonder why
reason,
bosses bother you.
for some reason, I just get pegged out. I don't know if it's because I'm just young and handsome or what it is, but
That's nothing.
people come after me and it's starting to get on my fucking nerves. All right, so
Maybe they perceive you as a threat.
and that's the only thing I can come up with because damn, I mean I'm pretty good at my job and I'm pretty good at their job even though they don't know it. I mean, I know it.
And do you let them know that you're, that you're better than them at their job?
My perception definitely definitely gives
thing.
off.
This is in every working world nowadays. They say people leave jobs because of managers, not because of the actual job. You know what I mean? Like people are leaving jobs because of the people that they work for, not because of what they're doing.
Right? Don't you think that if I was really upset with the place that I was working at, that I would have given up, a week or two after I worked there? I've been there. I've been with this company for 5 years, and it's definitely not the work because I can handle the work.
I think it's society nowadays because people are working for companies for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, and then your generation. I guess I'm a generation above you,
Barely.
technically, but you know what I mean. But I guess you could say our generation, we're at a certain job for 3, 4 years, and it's like a lifetime.
It feels like a lifetime
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
when technically it's not like we got another 40 years to go, bud.
Yeah.
you know.
But they don't offer pensions anymore, so what's the point of staying with the company for 40 plus years if they're not going to give you any
Oh,
benefits of getting
that
done?
just trans into that. This is what I don't understand is because I've been having more people talk to me about different money markets and different financial advisors, and I cannot understand like having someone who's an expert in the field helping you, with your money, but I can't get over the mountain of I'm gonna pay someone who's gonna tell me how to save money. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna pay someone when I could just save the money. I'm paying them and save my money. I'm gonna pay someone to tell me how to.
Well, they say that the first question you should ask a financial advisor or someone who's going or an investment broker, very first question you should ask them is how much money are they worth? Because you don't want to take advice from someone who doesn't have money. Why do you want to give
You mean them personally?
them personally? Absolutely. If this person's
Well,
not
I
not
mean, a lot of them aren't worth anything
well,
because they're all like first coming insurance agents. When you're a straight commission job and you don't have any commissions, you ain't worth nothing.
I mean, it's the same basis of that show Ballers, where basically The Rock was sitting there and didn't really have any money to his name, but he was trying to give all this advice to all these other NFL players and say, "Hey, look, this is what you should do. This is what I did wrong. This is what you should do." But then, but then it kind of goes to maybe he's right. What
well,
if?
I'm not a professional investment advisor, but I always tell people look at this. You want to know what to invest in? Look at the things that you use. Okay, I see a Bud Light in front of me. That may be a company
It's National Beer Day. Why wouldn't you
but
drink Bud Light?
National
that
Beer Day.
that might be a company you'd want to invest in because one, you purchased it, so all of your purchases aid to your own investment,
You know what the stocks,
and you believe in it.
You know what the
That makes
stocks are
sense.
right now per stock for Budweiser?
Oh, I'm sure it's up there. It's rock solid.
I wouldn't say it's rock solid because
Uh,
they're almost going under for a while.
Going under how? I mean, they own Corona. I mean, they're
But I look at things like that.
They own Corona, but it's that German company that owns it now.
What's your
A German
what's your
company?
favorite peanut butter?
Ooh, that's a legit question.
Jiffy.
Jiffy.
I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
there you go. There's another good company to invest in. What shoe brand do you
But
use?
Budweiser is $86.57 per stock.
There you go. So that's a good
It's more than Tyson.
that's a good company to go for. Seeing that it's easy. And every time you buy something, every time you buy that beer, you're aiding to your own investment.
That makes sense. But
$87 a stock, man. That's a good chunk of change per stock. I mean, you have to invest a pretty penny just to see.
you don't necessarily need to go per stock. Well, I guess the only way you can do minimum pieces of stock is if you work for the company.
Well, that's the benefit that they offer.
Yeah, if you work
Well,
for a
if you
company,
work
they,
for the
they
company.
do stock matching. A lot of companies
Right,
will offer
but you can't really buy
A
sections.
third of a share.
Yeah, you can't buy a
No,
third
it's
of a
not
share off the
Bitcoin.
market. Yeah. Apparently Bitcoin went under. What
I
about?
don't know. What is it?
Did-
What
did-
is this?
they were going under a long time ago.
Yeah, but he
there's
said
no, there's
Okay,
no
so someone
safe-
said someone forgot a password. Is that what
no,
it
the
was?
guy
The
who
guy
knew
died.
the password died. You gotta look that up.
I'm looking it up
you gotta
right
Google
now.
that
But-
there's another thing to invest in Google. 'Cause that bitch ain't
Well,
ever going away.
Google is $400 and some a share. I remember when the very first internet search engine I used was Yahoo, and I was 13 at the time, and had I known or had anything to invest in, that would have been a great company to invest in then. Next thing you know, Yahoo's buying Visa, and
There's a lot of stories I hear that people like in high school for economics class back in the day, they would have to invest in something. So like it was like 30 some cents a share, and it was like Exxon Mobil oil, and there's like a group of four of them, and they put so much money together and they invested in stuff, and then like they take their money out. Well, if they would have left their money in, they'd have been multi-millionaires today. Like if they would have left their money in.
If you would have known. But here's on the Bitcoin guy. All right, so this guy's name, maybe this is his last name, Jury. Maybe that's his first name, right? Gary with the G. There's his last name, Quadriguez. His inventory of cryptocurrency has become unavailable, and some of it may be lost. Okay, so it says the chief executive of a cryptocurrency company. Oh, that's the name of the company, Quadriga CX, has died, and apparently the only one the ability to unlock all the customers' coins. Without the ability, or with their digital keys, the clients lose access to their funds. Company board of directors said last week that they're seeking creditor protection. All right, so it says $190 million, 145 million in
Scam.
Bitcoin. Yeah. That seems like a fucking big.
and
ass
one guy
scam.
just ends up dying. That's
And
to
this
me,
guy, look
to
at this
me-
guy. He
to
looks
me,
like he's fucking 30
that money.
years old.
That money's already gone.
Oh yeah. It left as soon as it came.
And that's like the Bernie Madoff. Somebody has to. They had to pin it on somebody. Somebody has to hold the
That's
bag.
not a bad. I mean, you watch that TV show Billions, and obviously these TV shows are kind of the Wolf of Wall Street and the Bernie Madoff, like that. Those are pretty good gigs. If you get the wheel rolling on that, and you get investors like investing money, like that might be a pretty good.
Well, it's all good until the music stops.
Yeah. Well, here's a tweet from at JustPow. We have thousands of wallet addresses known to belong at Critical Coin X, and are investigating the bizarre and frankly unbelievable story of the founder's death and lost keys. I'm not normally calling subpoenas, but if RCM GRC police are looking into this, contact at Kragan FX. So we're not the only ones that believe this is a scam, but geez, Louise, how do you sit there and make this multi-million-dollar company that guy's dead?
It was multi-million-dollar overnight, though. Like
Overnight, yeah.
It came out of nowhere.
I used it for a little bit.
We could legitimately right now on this show come up with some kind of dumbass name and put it out there, and all of a sudden, boom, we're like just because it was a made-up currency.
Yeah, definitely made up.
It wasn't founded like it wasn't. You couldn't go to Cancun, Mexico on spring break and be like, oh here's 4 bitcoins.
No, you could actually use a card. They had cards to use the bitcoins.
Did they really?
Yeah.
But not every restaurant accepted.
No,
them.
but
there was
first
a lot of signs that said we accept Bitcoin.
the first thing that was bought with a Bitcoin, it had to do with a pizza, and it was I don't know like 12 Bitcoins for this pizza. And when Bitcoin hit its high, that was like a $600,000 pizza that ended up getting purchased. But that was the whole thing, taking this cryptocurrency, something that is in the virtual world, and then turning it into something tangible, i.e. a piece of pizza or a pizza. So that was the I guess what the breakthrough.
Well, I'm just saying we should just come up with some dumbass name and
Now
of
there's
currency.
there's all sorts of cryptocurrencies. There's cryptocurrencies that are backing all sorts of markets. I've seen a lot with the medical marijuana.
That American marijuana is going to be like that the Exxon Mobil oil story I
Oh
told
yeah,
you about.
it is.
That's it. If you
It is.
if you find the right company,
Exactly.
medical marijuana and the first like just marijuana distillery that can sell in legal states for rec use. The first company that goes public, that is just going to be a fucking money
What do
maker.
you mean
They-
first company that goes public?
Well, they
Like
oh, you mean on the stock market
Yeah.
public?
yeah.
there was a machine that like a vending machine that scans your driver's license, video, with a video camera verifies the image that it's
Mhm.
you,
You can get
and then it
medical
will
marijuana.
dispense a tube of marijuana to you. That machine, when Colorado went legal for recreation, that machine stock shot up, and then it leveled off. But there's going to be a lot of products like that
Yeah.
that are going to be.
It's if you came up with some kind of new way to, I don't know the correct term, ingest, or instead of smoking and stuff like they came out with the wax, the different ways to get high. If you come out one way and just like kind of patent it, you're done working for
You
your
can't
life.
patent a food product though. Can you?
Well,
Yeah, mac and cheese, Kraft.
the
Yeah.
Is that
Ketchup,
patent
mustard.
or is it
Yeah,
licensed?
Is it licensed or is it patent? Because we can't go make ketchup that tastes like Heinz because we get sued.
if we advertised that it said tastes like Heinz, right?
Right, but what I'm saying is, so if we have
You can't make another product and then basically say that it's going to be the same product.
right, but in order to make another product to say it's the same product, you have to have that first product. And what I'm saying is, we come up with that first product that has to do with getting someone high. Boom.
I think we should put it in an aerosol can.
You don't even need to suck anymore. People.
THC and aerosol? That would fuck some people
It-
up.
I've never
It will
seen
get
that.
you high, and then it'll get you
Oh shit.
All right, so that's it. That's our product.
Aerosol
weed in a can.
Weed in a can.
weed in a can. It's like Spam, but better.
I kind of want to go back to this poaching thing.
That's to me is nature doing what.
Justice, is that nature justifying
Well,
itself?
that's what the animals were doing. What man couldn't do. Yeah, it's just nature. Be careful. Don't mess with Mother Nature.
I mean, for our listeners, I guess they don't understand, kind of what we're referencing. But it was about a suspected rhino poacher in South Africa that was killed by an elephant. And then after this elephant killed this man, a pack of lions went after his remains.
Well, it shows you that the lion and the elephant can get along.
They can get along. And the rhinos too. I wonder whatever happened to the rhino.
Now, this is something that
I wonder if they try to get the rhino in trouble for doing that.
I blame
Which would be
rhino.
For
really messed
instigating?
up.
That's why the lions came in there.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man.
this
Fucking rats.
this really disturbed me. They said 600 million birds are killed every year by our skyscrapers. Now,
Clean windows.
well, they say that the birds are attracted to the light that the buildings give off, and it disorientates them, and they end up flying into them.
So it's our buildings, or it's the buildings that are killing the birds. It's
Yeah,
not the
it's
birds
these
killing
skyscrapers,
themselves.
and I think that this really needs to be addressed, and I think that PETA should lead the march on this, and I'm calling for them to start bringing down the tall buildings.
You don't like skyscrapers?
No, I like skyscrapers, but I like birds better.
I agree. I guess I like birds better too. But what's
You ever heard of skyscraper flu? No, but you got bird flu killing people.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't think you're gonna have anybody bringing down buildings or anything for the birds. Honestly, I think that probably makes people more happy that these birds are dying so they could take over the world for themselves. Not me personally, but I
Who's
think
gonna
it's
take over the world for themselves?
people that are just, I don't know, whoever care about themselves and
Now,
don't really care about
in
nature.
in the United States defense, we have not built any tall skyscrapers that have been mounted like the top tall buildings, and so our skylines are dropping.
What's dropping?
Our skylines.
Our skylines are dropping. What?
I don't know if that's accurate. Just because we haven't built big skyscrapers lately.
Yeah,
It's
and we
it's
have
'cause all the-
and we have terrorists that take them down.
Okay, that's a low blow right there. But there's just, I mean, when you look at Dubai and Beijing or China, I guess in a whole, that's building these new skyscrapers, they're just filling in where they haven't built. I mean, during the Industrial Revolution, we built all the skyscrapers in the area. It's all filled in. Everything's moving out towards suburbs now, which you're not going to have many skyscrapers. But I guess if you look at Las Vegas, Vegas just blows up the old casino and builds right over the top of with the new one. But they're not going for height anymore. They're going for more extravagant.
Well, I guess that answered that question.
I guess that's just my theory.
No, and that makes
if it's
perfect
not correct,
sense.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right by any means. That's what that's what in my mind. That's what I'm thinking. Like if you look at New York City, where else are they gonna build a new skyscraper in New York City?
All right, so that's the answer, Dubai. We already built the buildings.
Been there, done that, bitch.
Too late.
You want our leftovers?
Now you're gonna see the birds start dying.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. Dubai. If you see photos and like some of the buildings that's there and stuff, and like Dubai is beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It is gorgeous, and when you're looking at it, and they have these skyscrapers, and everyone's driving Ferraris or Lamborghinis, like who wouldn't want to go there?
I mean, you gotta have some money to be able to get there and to be able to stay there. I would say, but.
And that's when you find the sugar mama.
The sugar
bada bing,
mama.
bada boom.
I think you would probably have to find a
Sugar daddy.
prince
Yeah.
that
That's okay, or in the men.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, that'd be a problem on my behalf. So maybe I'll just turn in like best friends with this guy.
Wow, that's your best scenario. All right, so there's a island out in Thailand called Mai Khao. It's a beach near Thailand. Like I said, they have a death penalty in place for locals, or maybe not locals, tourists. I'm sorry, that are going to this beach and taking pictures of these low incoming airplanes into the airport.
Oh, I've seen that video.
I don't know. I guess I haven't seen the video, but I'm just up here watching there, and they're taking pictures of these planes coming down and taking pictures with the planes.
It really looks like they're just gonna smoke them. Like if you watch the video, it's insane.
Well, I mean, for this right here, they got. I'm looking at pictures with their wheels
out.
out.
Do that now?
Now they're saying no. Now
There's a death penalty in
So
place.
they're gonna kill you if you take a
They're
video.
saying death penalty.
Like
if you get caught on this island,
Yeah,
I think they're gonna put you to death.
Now. Okay, so you see
Yeah.
the pictures?
yeah. So if you're on the island itself,
I guess I don't know the exact law, but I guess what I'm reading this article here
It says
saying
a selfie could land you in death row.
these guys are strict.
All right.
they're all about honoring the code though.
What I mean, what code are they honoring? I mean, all they need to do is put in
Code of the
place.
samurai, motherfucker. What do you mean?
Samurai.
The only code there
Thailand.
is.
I think the death penalty is a little too severe, but I think a couple lashes with the cane should do the trick for most of these people.
How many times were you whipped by the belt by your mom for doing something bad? Do you still do that bad? Exactly. That little fucking laugh alone tells you. Guess who can't do something bad anymore if they fucking get murdered?
Whoa! You guys remember that show
Hey, so I think you have a political career maybe in Thailand.
in Thailand?
Me? Yeah.
Or in where's that at?
Yeah, it's in Thailand, island
Yeah,
off of Thailand.
I think they would like you there.
I would legitimately be like the Shaquille O'Neal of all those people.
The Shaquille O'Neal of the Thailanders. Okay, so in other news, do you guys remember that show Smallville?
I've never seen it.
it was-
I know you're talking about.
It was a show, a show of
It's like Supernatural.
Superman.
Is it Superman?
Yeah, Superman growing up in Smallville, right?
Oh.
So the actress that played Lois Lane, Allison Mack, pleaded guilty to racketing, conspiracy, and racketeering, conspiracy, and racketeering relating to her alleged role in sex trafficking case.
Whoa,
Was
whoa,
it
whoa, whoa,
Allison
whoa,
who?
whoa, whoa. Say that again.
What's her last name?
Mack, Allison Mack, ALISONMACK, Mack. I love Smallville. How is this lady involved in
sex cult?
in sex trafficking?
Is it a sex cult or a
It's a sex cult.
Okay, so the sex cults.
God damn.
Luring women into sex trafficking.
Okay, so the sex cults, that all has to do with Satan worship.
Oh, I'm sorry. She wasn't playing Lois Lane. She was playing she was not Overwatch. She was Watchtower. Watchtower was her code name because she was the computer geek for Superman. But yeah, sex trafficking. Let's read this article from CNN. Arrested April 2018 and charged with her alleged involvement with organization called Nixum. I don't know. NXIVM.
Okay, let's Google them.
Okay, Google them.
I'm reading that.
Oh, right. Yeah, pronounced Nixum.
Okay, spell it for me.
NXIVM.
NXIVM.
She lured women into this cult following Mr. Rainier's orders.
Mr. Rainier. Who's this Mr. Rainier?
Smart fucking man, who he is.
Pyramid scheme which some recruited were exploited both sexually from their labor and dependent benefits. That's ridiculous. Like, you would never think something crazy like that would happen.
Okay.
They stem from officials said were activities that took place part of secret society within Nexum and DOS.
Okay, so Nexum. According to Wikipedia, Nexum is an American multi-level marketing company based out of New York State that offered personal and professional development seminars through executive success programs.
That doesn't sound like a pyramid scheme. I don't know what does. Maximum 40 years in prison. Oh my goodness.
Listen to this. She admitted Monday that. Let's see if I can find. Hold on 1 second. I gotta find this paragraph I was just reading because it was just insane.
Okay, so this Keith Rainier, where's he at?
I don't know. He's behind the curtain, so.
Well, you know what? I think that is a person that needs to be
brought to attention
to the light.
Why don't we?
So I'm calling out all listeners.
So Miss Mack said to become members of the secret DOS group, women required to offer up personally damaging or ruinous information. The group also collected explicit photos and videos from members as well as their rights to their properties.
I'd say case closed. Got him straight up.
The DOS group was organized into circles of women slaves that were led by masters, prosecutors said. When Miss Mack was arrested last year, officials said that she had recruited women into the society as slaves. That is just insane.
That is insane. You would think that would.
But what they're doing is they're holding information. So they get information, compromising information on these people, and then basically blackmailing them into
pleading guilty.
And the ringleader of this has been charged with child pornography.
Oh my god.
And all sorts of stuff.
What's this douchebag look like? What's his name?
Keith Rainier. R-A-N-I-E-R-E.
He's Rainier. Oh my goodness. This guy looks like a douche.
All right. So
American multi-level marketing company.
So she done fucked up big time.
Well, you don't know. I mean, what compromising information did they have on her? And for her to accept this kind of deal means that she probably didn't want it to get out. She could be just a victim of this as well.
Or she's the biggest victim of them all. Who knows? But she already pled guilty. So
exactly, pled guilty. So whatever. I mean, she's not fighting her case. So again,
she's done.
And again, this all goes to often these are the people that are getting burned. I'm sure there were people that pulled these people's strings.
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
There's always the puppet master.
You
for
know,
sure.
so and every now and then somebody's got to get burned.
Always. Well,
I mean, I never heard of this Nexum. I've never heard of.
I ain't even heard of it.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's obviously it's in New York, and they're not probably gonna venture out to the fucking Midwest.
right, but I mean, this only broke because of the news. So if not made to be broken open, we would still not have heard about it.
true. Very true.
Branching off to this, Felicity Huffman, along with 14 other defendants, to plead guilty in admission scandal. So there's 14 parents and one university athletic coach. Oh my goodness!
14.
This
say it
thing's
again?
just gonna grow. 14 parents are pleading guilty for paying to get their kids into college.
For paying to get their kids.
That college scandal.
Oh, so this is just branching out, and people are just now.
Well, yeah, there's more people brought to light.
Well, I bet you as soon as those ones got caught, well, somebody was like, well, I know about this kid that had their parents. They were bragging about it yesterday, blah, 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 blah. Now, speaking not of college, but, all right, so Motel 6 had to pay $12 million settle lawsuit after reporting guests to ICE. All right, that's racism as its finest.
Say it again.
Motel 6 has to pay a $12 million lawsuit to a guest that they reported to ICE, saying they were illegal immigrants, so they reported them. ICE shows up. I'm assuming they probably said, I'm legal, motherfucker. Here's what it says. Has to agree
they
12.
thought they were illegal?
Yeah, has to agree or agreed to pay $12 million settle of a lawsuit after admitting at least 6 of its Washington state locations voluntarily reported guests to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement over a 2-year span. So they did this over 2 years, and they're paying out all these lawsuits. So they're assuming all these people staying at their places are immigrants or illegal immigrants, and they're just, oh, we're gonna report them to ICE. And apparently, all these times they were incorrect. Well,
I got one for you.
Okay.
Doug's buddy Trump just took action against Iran.
Yeah, labeling them terrorists.
Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is now a terrorist organization in the eyes of the United States.
Jeez Louise. Trump designates Iran's Revolutionary Guards foreign terrorist group.
Mm-hmm. It's Iranian regime.
Just today, too.
Yeah, it just happened.
Wow.
That's insane.
They accept
I
Mondays.
mean, okay, honestly, it just goes back to what we were talking about a couple days ago, where the puppet masters who make all these missiles and bombs and stuff like that. They're like, hey, there hasn't been a good war in a while. I mean, we just had what the article right below it was. We literally just had 3. Let me find it one more second. 3 American service members, 1 contractor was killed in Afghanistan today.
1 contractor.
Roadside bomb. So, like, what we needed. Hey, Afghanistan's kind of slowing down. We're only losing 5 people a day now in Afghanistan. We gotta ramp these. Those are my rookie numbers. We gotta ramp these numbers up. Let's, Jesus Christ.
These people today, and all war brings is devastation. I mean, it kind of brings people together, but not necessarily in a good way. I mean, look what happened in the 70s when everybody was revolting against the country.
There's a difference between Adolf Hitler during World War II and when countries had to step in and say, okay, this shit's not right.
Oh, for sure. And it was multiple countries.
And then there's
it's not.
So the difference between Adolf Hitler doing this and then a country that is just in a civil war with itself, fighting itself like we did back in the day. We had a civil war, North and South.
Mm-hmm.
And these these countries are having a civil war. We don't need to step in because it's their civil war. Let them do it. Now, if it's
we should vote on it as a country.
No, not even
We shouldn't even- we
It's none
shouldn't-
of our fucking business.
Yeah, we shouldn't even get into inner
It,
politics.
it's none of our business. You don't see us fighting the Civil War and Britain and Germany coming over to fucking help one of the sides.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, it all comes down to why do we even have borders? I mean, what's the point of having fucking
Oh, I
countryized
understand why you
borders?
have borders because it makes. I mean, it's kind of it's part of the civilization. Back in the day when the medieval times and they had castles with walls, and when you got inside the walls, you were protected. It's the same way with the countries now. When you get within the country borders, you're supposed to be protected by that country.
Yeah, I'm protected by that
So
country, but
I mean, are you protected? No, it's an imaginary line. But in your conscious mind, people feel protected. You know what I mean? Just like people say, United States is the best country in the world. We are far from it.
so the whole point of having different countries is for people to feel
Comfortable.
safe,
Yeah, civilized.
civilized.
I mean, think about it. There's no other reason why. Every reason
Or
relates.
the fact that the people that are running those countries are greedy and they say, ha ha ha,
I mean, that
I own this section
right.
of land.
I mean, obviously that goes with it. And that's the same as the kings. It's the same as medieval times, just in a wider aspect of, castle was only what, 4 or 5 acres wide. Now this is a whole country. So
Yeah.
Speaking of Middle Ages, it is said that 1 billion viewers will be watching the Game of Thrones.
1 billion?
I will be one of
1
them motherfuckers.
billion.
Yeah, I'll be part of that group for
Well,
sure.
I guess I gotta go back one more time. My second issue I have with this whole country thing before we go, because hey, I'm all about talking about this TV show that's about to come up. But my second point is every time we go in and we just bomb the shit out of these countries, we pay for these new buildings. We have highways and potholes, buildings falling apart, homeless people in Detroit, homeless people across the country, but we're going to rebuild a country in the Middle East
That
or
has
wherever
nothing
it
to
may
do with
be.
the people that live in this country here.
You know what I mean?
That
Well,
is bullshit.
so you know what I think? I think if we go to a war with a country, we should just take that country, and it should be just become one of our
US
states.
yeah, US
honestly,
settlement.
Territory, yeah,
There-
and then
there-
allow
there's
us to
no-
travel there, and
No,
we'll make it the U.S.
no. There's no
I agree,
reason.
like we did with
But
Puerto
there's
Rico.
no reason for us to go to war these. I mean, obviously there's a terrorist attack.
More beaches.
Someone attacks us, like 9/11. Yes, we hunt them down and we bring them to justice.
But we didn't hunt any of the Saudi Arabians that did that. It was mostly Saudis, I think.
Well, it's Bin Laden's crew who did it. We hunted Bin Laden. He was the head of
Supposedly, but that's a whole nother different
But
topic.
I mean, he was the head of the snake, and we cut off the head of the snake.
You cut off somebody's head.
But you know what I mean? Like in Saddam Hussein, backed him up. We caught him, brought him to justice as well. And then we're done. We leave.
What if Hitler wasn't even a really bad guy? What if everybody just made it all
That
up?
is the dumbest thing you've ever said.
I don't know.
What if he was just some random fucking Joe? What if he was like Kim Jong Un?
I don't think Hitler died in Germany.
Well,
You know,
I don't
he
believe
got
that.
out.
Yeah, I believe that.
There was a report done by the Hoover Institute that showed that the United States specifically avoided bombing strategic, I guess it would be companies that were owned by U.S. by companies that were owned by
United States.
yeah,
US
owned by
investors.
people in the United States. Specifically, did not bomb them, and those companies were aiding the Axis. It had to do with like a Goodyear Tire Company and
Mhm.
some of these that we did not bomb them, and they were supplying these. So, in a sense, that whole
When you go back and look at everything, obviously, when people say, "Well, it's just a conspiracy theory," no, there's so many things that happen. There's cover-ups over cover-ups. It's not. There's no conspiracy. It not just happened overnight that just magically something like this happened. It's been planned out by someone in the back office or in a back room saying, "Hey, you don't fuck with my money." Because he's the puppet master. And
Okay, so-
that's flat out
So
how it is.
kind of on this conspiracies. Okay, so what would be considered a conspiracy? Because I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about this show and some things to talk about. And I was thinking about conspiracies, and because we brought this up a little bit on the last show, and So what would be considered
What constitutes?
what constitutes a conspiracy? Because
I'd almost say in out of the normal theory.
okay, so let me
I mean, is that
let me
probably
throw
basic?
let me throw some stuff. How about the moon landing?
Is that considered a
Is
conspiracy
that
theory?
considered-
No. The conspiracy theory was it's filmed in a Hollywood studio.
It was filmed in a Hollywood studio.
That's a
so
conspiracy
would that be considered classified a conspiracy theory?
That's it. I mean, the conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
is
that would be the
Okay, so
conspiracy
then-
theory that it never happened.
Okay, so what about Roswell, New Mexico, in the UFO?
That's a conspiracy theory saying whether it happened or not.
Whether it happened or not, or was it the weather balloon, or did we actually get UFO, or was it government?
Interaction.
What exactly
Well,
happened?
And to branch off this is how you know conspiracy theories are true, because they said, oh, the conspiracy theory is they took the alien parts and the alien spaceship, they took it to Area 51 in the Nevada desert, and that's just a conspiracy theory because there's no such Air Force base.
Well, there is an Air Force
Well,
base.
now all of a sudden they Obama administration declassified files,
saying that
and
it
now
was.
there is an air base there.
Okay, so that
You know what I mean? So
so it
to
was
say
a
that
conspiracy theory up until it was declassified
Right.
information.
So that just debunks every official, every person, everybody who wants to say, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist," and none of these are wrong. You just try to look for something in something that's so plain. Well, this just debunks everyone who's ever said that, because the conspiracy theory that is so outrageous that there's an Air Force base at Meade Lake was just founded true. You know what I mean? Whether there's alien spaceship are there, who knows?
It was
But-
the fact that there wasn't a such base
yeah,
out there.
but there is a base there. You get what I'm saying?
On that, this is kind of interesting. When I was in college, I worked in a nursing home, and there was an older gentleman there, and he had one of those conditions where he couldn't tell you what he did this afternoon or what he ate for lunch, but he could tell you what happened 50 years ago.
Sure. Yeah,
All
those
right.
long.
Right.
Yeah.
He could remember long ago. And this gentleman, I used to go up and sneak him an extra ice cream, and me and him would sit there and talk. Well, he was in the Air Force.
You are so going. You're getting the death penalty. For
He
that.
he was in the Air Force, and he told me that he was a sergeant that was in charge of the photography lab, and I thought that was really interesting. So being the inquisitive mind, inquisitive minds need to know. I say, hey Bill, I said, when you were in the Air Force and you're in that photography lab, I said, did you ever see any UFOs? And he got real kind of quiet, kind of crossed his hands, kind of looked at me, and he shook his head, yeah. And I said, oh, really, Bill? I said, where, Bill? Where was it at? And he said, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
And that's what he said. So, and now this is a person that had the access to it. He was a Mason, so he knew how to keep a secret. And he was at the time of his life where he's not going to keep any secrets, and he's not going to come up with a story. So I do believe that he did see
What he says he saw.
but
What he
this
says
is-
he
this is-
saw.
This is something that people need to keep in mind too. When you say a UFO, an unidentified flying object, does not mean it's an alien spacecraft. It could be the English Air Force test, or
True.
it could be some other Air Force
But-
or some other country just test.
Absolutely
doing
true.
tests on- you know what I mean? It's not necessarily
Absolutely true.
from aliens.
But when you have military men that are trained in identifying foreign aircraft,
But you don't know if it's foreign aircraft or not, because it's a brand new piece of
Right.
machinery that you've never seen before. That's
But
why it's
those-
fucking
Back in
unidentified.
the
but
day.
those are the people that when they tell you, hey, I saw an unidentified vehicle or flying object that has some substance to it.
We were experimenting on planes and making our own aircrafts, and
Sure, and that's how we got the stealth bomber.
right. So
That's how we got the
Well,
was during World War II, the big plane, the spy plane that we had.
B-52
Mhm.
The B-52
bombers.
bombers.
But our technology definitely changed after the 40s to 50s. If you look at
after
the plane,
moon
yeah,
landing.
after the planes that were in World War II, then what come out, the jet fighters, and then we started getting to the electronics. So Was there some reverse engineering done by? I mean, where's some of that technology come from?
There was a UFO, and I know we watched this together one day because I remember rewinding it and making you sit down and watch it, and they were talking about the train of events that happened. It dealt with the founder of Motorola, and it's something about with the moon landing, and they used the radio system to communicate to the astronauts on the moon and back through the Motorola, and it all came out of after the UFO was found and taken to Roswell. This guy was part of one of the engineers at the base. It was the founder of Motorola. Like it all tied together with the moon landing and being able to communicate through space. And it was just one of those things that just like really stuck. Like, holy shit!
Well, because at that time we didn't have any satellites in the air
our technology
either.
changed.
Right. So I mean, there's has to be something, because you don't just go from not being able to fly around the world or barely fly around the world
to sending stuff
to going to the moon
and back
communicate while they're there with video feed, and then have all this military.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was done in California.
I mean, all right. So I was watching this movie. It was called The First Man. It was about Neil Armstrong. When they were first, going into space, and they were having the Cold War, and they were doing their race with Russia, or whatever, blah blah blah, historical shit. Okay, so it was then talking about it was basically showing how Neil Armstrong was going up with his fighter jet, basically going above the atmosphere and almost into the stratosphere with his fighter jet, and like getting stuck, like bouncing off the atmosphere. He wasn't able to push his jet back in the atmosphere to go ahead and go down. So I mean, we were testing it, obviously before we went into space with just our jets. So I mean, you can't say that we weren't trying.
Here's the thing, like, in order for someone to really debunk us going into space, landing on the moon, I mean, you have to have proof. What kind of proof would an individual need to change the mind of the world?
I would think like this: why haven't we done it again?
That's true.
Why haven't we gone to the moon again?
I think we have.
We have never gone back to the moon.
But I mean, there's no real reason for us to. We've been.
Then what was the reason to go the first time?
To say that we did it.
Okay.
They had to beat the Russians.
But
it's a valid thing of saying, because Russia technically got their
they went to space first.
Yeah, they were in space first with their cosmonauts. So we had to come up with something to
up them.
To go over, because the Cold War was.
It was Hollywood.
But like you said though, why haven't we gone back?
But I mean, how much money does it cost for us to go to the moon?
We got fucking people.
It's got to be cheaper the second time around.
Of course, but we have we have people living in space right now. Why can't they go to the moon?
Right. Well, they're the Space Center. Tell them, that Space Center. I read an article on that. That thing is stupid expensive.
Well, duh, it's in space.
Yeah, but like, what's the plans for it though? That's my question. Like,
what are they doing? What are they doing up there?
But okay, so think about this. They've been building this for how many years now? So, close to when I was born is when they started building it.
I don't think I trust it.
Are you think they're expanding it? They're continuing adding onto it?
Yeah. They've been added. They tell people that they add onto it. I think this thing is multiple times more than what they say.
I think it'd be hit by something.
I think this thing.
It's probably got shields on it.
Well, I think this thing can hold world leaders and keep them safe if there was ever like an apocalyptic
like an emergency evacuation.
You convince the world leaders, hey, we're gonna send you up to outer space.
Well, they don't know.
It's not. They don't need to be convinced. It's their plan.
They're the ones who developed it. They're the ones who said, hey, you're gonna fucking do this.
Yeah. I mean, shit. That makes. Oh no, they're probably not saying you're gonna do this. It's the fact that they probably said this is where we want to go.
But here's the other question now. So let's say they did that. How big does it need to be for us to start to see it here on Earth?
To what?
To be able to see it on Earth during the night, clear sky. Hey, the International Space Center is coming across.
Telescope.
I mean, yeah, you could probably see it with a telescope. Are you talking with the naked eye?
Yeah, because you can when it
passes over, it'll be as big as the moon.
They tell you, well, obviously, but it won't be as well. It could be as pretty a lot of lights and bright.
But it's a lot closer than the moon.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying? Because whenever I know right now, whenever it passes over you, they say, hey, the International Space Center is coming over. Look at it between this time and this time, and you can see like a blinking light. I mean, in the Midwest, if you stare up at the sky, you can almost think you see satellites floating real slow.
You can.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can.
Well, you see the
yeah.
flashes.
You'll see them with
So,
the steady.
but whether it is or not, but I mean, so how big does it need to be for us to say, oh shit, that thing's fucking huge? I mean, that's ultimate conspiracy theory. Now, what triggers it? Is the Earth like in the movie 2012, where the Earth just deforms itself because of everything?
Well, I think the world's going to end up going flat, collapsing in upon itself due to all the
or
fuel
it's already
we get.
flat.
It's not flat.
Well, with
Well,
that, we will pick up tomorrow night.
Okay,
All right, thanks guys for listening.
Whether the world is flat.
Yes. Good night, y'all.